323 BC. Babylon. Behind the closed doors of the palace, the fate of the world is being decided. Alexander the Great is dead. His empire is the prize, and his generals, the Diadochi, are the players, ready to tear each other's throats out. All eyes are on the regent, Perdiccas, on the powerful Antigonus, on the celebrated Craterus. These are the Titans, and in the shadow of these giants stands a man many consider to be just a loyal subordinate. His name is Ptolemy. He is merely one of the 7 personal bodyguards, the Somatophylakes, a brave warrior, but not a strategist of global stature. Or so it seems. Do you know why 95% of people never achieve their goals? They're afraid to risk it all at the decisive moment. Ptolemy was not afraid. While the Titans were dividing armies and provinces, he was hatching a plan of his own, a plan so daring, so blasphemous, and so brilliant that they simply couldn't see it coming. He decided to steal not gold, not land. He decided to steal Alexander himself. Ptolemy's act was not just a power grab, it was a seizure of legitimacy itself. In a world where all laws had collapsed, he understood that real power lay not in spears, but in an idea. The idea was that whoever possessed the body of Alexander also possessed his divine right to rule. There was a prophecy that the land which received the great king's remains, quote, would be happy and invincible for all time, end quote. Ptolemy decided that this land would be Egypt, his satrapy. This is the story of the greatest political startup of antiquity, where the venture capital investment was a stolen body. Today, we won't just be recounting a biography. We will dissect the psychology of Ptolemy I Soter. We will trace his path through 5 turning points, from the ambitions of an outsider at Philip's court to his desperate courage in India, from the cold calculation behind the theft of the body to the 20-year war for the right to possess this relic. How did this man turn a stolen corpse into the foundation of a dynasty that would last for 300 years? To understand why Ptolemy dared to steal the body, we must go back to the very beginning, to the court of King Philip II. Officially, Ptolemy is the son of a Macedonian aristocrat named Lagus and a woman named Arsinoe. From his youth, he is part of the heir's inner circle, Alexander, and is even educated alongside him. But there is a chasm between them. Alexander is a genius, the great hope, the legitimate heir. Ptolemy, being older, is seen more as his loyal but secondary companion. He is one of the guys. And in the toxic atmosphere of the Macedonian court, where every general and aristocrat fights for influence, Ptolemy occupies a precarious position. He has no lands, no armies, no undisputed claim to glory. He has only one thing: proximity to the future king. And that proximity will one day nearly cost him everything. 337 BC. Philip II, Alexander's father, decides to arrange a dynastic marriage. He wants to marry his other son, Aridius, to the daughter of the Carian satrap, Pixodarus. Alexander is furious. He sees this as a threat to his status as heir. He sabotages the negotiations. Philip II flies into a rage, but not just at his son. He unleashes his fury on the bad advisors, on Alexander's inner circle, and Ptolemy is first on that list. Along with the heir's other friends, he is disgracefully exiled from Macedonia. This is a catastrophe. In an instant, Ptolemy goes from being the friend of the future king to a criminal of the state. He loses everything: his home, his status, his future. This is the turning point that will teach him the most important rule of survival in high-stakes politics. Never put all your eggs in one basket, and always have a plan of your own. Now, let's break down why Philip considered Ptolemy so dangerous. Are you ready to learn the truth about his parentage? The fact is, a persistent rumor circulated at court. Ptolemy was not actually the son of Lagus. His real father was allegedly Philip II himself, which would make Ptolemy Alexander's illegitimate half-brother. We don't know if this is true. Perhaps Ptolemy spread this rumor himself, once he was already king, to strengthen his dynasty. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that this rumor shaped his identity. He was almost a prince, but with none of the rights. He was an outsider at the very center of power. And his exile was a brutal lesson for him. Talent and rumors of royal blood are not enough. He needed something more. He needed to build his own authority, and he would begin to earn it on the battlefield. After Philip's death and Alexander's accession in 336 BC, Ptolemy immediately returns from exile. He joins the great campaign to the east. But as we've said, he is not the main star. The sources indicate that in the first great battles, he serves under other, more famous commanders. For years, he marches in Alexander's shadow, doing his duty. In 330 BC, he receives the highest rank, somatophylax, a personal bodyguard to the king. This is the elite, but the title must be earned, and Ptolemy still pales in glory compared to Hephaestion, Craterus, or Leonatus. And then, in India, an event occurs that will give him the chance to create his own myth. 325 BC. The disastrous assault on the city of the Mali. Alexander, as always, is the first to scale the wall and finds himself trapped inside the city, cut off from his men. He is showered with arrows. One of them pierces his armor and sinks deep into his chest, into his lung. The king falls, bleeding profusely. At that moment, he is saved by those who were near him, a warrior named Pseudestus, who covered him with the sacred shield, and Leonatus, who fought off the attackers. They are the ones who dragged the half-dead Alexander to safety. So where was Ptolemy at this moment? Here's what the experts don't tell you, or rather what they argue about, is his location. Arrian, our best source, writes that everyone, except Ptolemy himself, claimed that he was commanding another unit at that moment and wasn't even nearby. But decades later, as the king of Egypt, Ptolemy would write his own memoirs, and in his story, he is there. He is the one who shielded the king with his own body. Now let's analyze this. Why did he lie? This is the story of how he gamed the system. Ptolemy, the outsider, understood earlier than the others that in the struggle for the inheritance, it's not enough to just be loyal. You need legends to be told about your loyalty. He couldn't afford to remain just a bodyguard, while others were the king's saviors. By writing himself into this key, heroic moment, he was retroactively building his own myth. This was his most brilliant move. He started stealing history, even before he stole the body. This act of propaganda, this appropriated valor, gave him the moral authority that he would later convert into power. He understood that he who writes history controls both the past and the future. 323 BC.
Babylon. After Alexander's death, his generals divide the empire. Perdiccas becomes the regent, the most powerful man in the state. Ptolemy plays it smart. He doesn't ask for Asia or Macedonia, he asks for Egypt. At first glance, it's a modest choice, but in reality, it's a stroke of genius. Egypt is rich, has access to the sea, and most importantly, is easy to defend. While Ptolemy strengthens his position in his new satrapy, back in Babylon, they spend nearly 2 years building an unprecedented funeral carriage. This is not just a cart, it's a mobile temple, adorned with gold and paintings. Perdiccas is preparing the body for transport to Macedonia, to Exile, where all Macedonian kings were buried. For him, this is the symbol of his supreme authority. He who buries the king is the king. He failed to account for one thing. Ptolemy understood this too. 322 or 321 BC. The magnificent procession with the embalmed body of Alexander finally leaves Babylon and moves slowly north towards Macedonia. And then, as the cortege passes through Syria, the unthinkable happens. An army appears in the path of the procession. It's Ptolemy, who has marched out of Egypt. This is an open declaration of war on the regent. The sources report that Ptolemy seized or hijacked the body. He likely either bribed the escort or simply used military force. He turns the carriage around and leads it south to his own satrapy. He is taking the body to Egypt. Perdiccas is enraged. He has just lost more than the king's body. He has lost the ultimate symbol of power. The hidden truth that everyone ignores is that this was not an impulsive act. It was a cold, calculated move. Alexander's body was not just remains, it was a talisman representing power and legitimacy. First, Ptolemy was relying on the prophecy, which stated that the land where Alexander was buried would be happy and invincible for all time. By seizing the body, Ptolemy symbolically made Egypt invincible. Second, he stole from Perdiccas the royal prerogative, the right to bury the previous monarch. Now, Ptolemy, not Perdiccas, looked like the true successor. And third, it was a signal to the army. Alexander's former soldiers, upon learning that his leader's body was in Egypt, began to flock from all over the world to serve the man who guarded it. Ptolemy brought the body to Memphis, the ancient capital, and it became the first stone in the foundation of his own kingdom. Perdiccas' reaction was immediate. He gathered the main imperial army and personally led it against Egypt. This was the first war of the Diadochi, and Ptolemy was the cause. But here, his second stroke of genius became apparent. He wasn't a conqueror, but a defender. He chose Egypt because he knew it was nearly impossible to take. Fortified behind the Nile, Ptolemy repelled Perdiccas' invasion. Moreover, the humiliating defeat and failure of the campaign led to Perdiccas being murdered by his own officers. Ptolemy didn't just survive, he eliminated his greatest enemy. But this was only the beginning. For the next 20 years, Egypt would be a coveted prize for another, even more powerful Diadochus, Antigonus the One-Eyed. Antigonus the One-Eyed had nearly recreated Alexander's empire. By 301 BC, he controlled vast territories from Syria to Asia Minor. Ptolemy, sensing the threat, entered into a grand coalition with the other Diadochi, Seleucus, ruler of Babylonia, Lysimachus, ruler of Thrace, and Cassander, ruler of Macedonia. Their goal was to stop Antigonus. The decisive battle took place near the town of Ipsus in Phrygia. It was one of the largest battles of the era, a clash of giants. And although Ptolemy himself was late to the decisive engagement, as he was campaigning in Syria at the time, his participation in the coalition was strategically crucial. Antigonus was defeated and killed in battle. His empire collapsed. Do you know what your future looks like? Ptolemy did. His future was in Egypt, and he had no intention of risking it for conquests in Asia. The Battle of Ipsus was the culmination of his 20-year strategic defensive strategy. He's the only one of all the Diadochi who held on to his original satrapy, Egypt. While others made and betrayed alliances, trying to seize the entire empire, Ptolemy methodically built his kingdom around the relic he had stolen. The victory at Ipsus cemented this success. The world of the Diadochi finally admitted it. The empire could not be recreated. Ptolemy had proven his right to Egypt. He hadn't just stolen Alexander's body, he had defended it. Now he could stop fighting and start building a dynasty.
The wars of the Diadochi were over. Ptolemy I, having taken the title Soter, Savior, became the rightful king and Pharaoh of Egypt. He has a country, an army, and most importantly, the sacred relic, the body of Alexander, which he moves from Memphis to his new shining capital, Alexandria. At this point, he could have simply enjoyed his power, as many did, but Ptolemy made another pivot. This one changes the rules of the game forever. He realized that raw military force had to be urgently converted into durable, soft power. The warrior had to give way to the architect. Ptolemy launches 3 projects that will define the future. First, he transforms Alexander's body into a cult. He builds a tomb in Alexandria, the Soma, which becomes a center of pilgrimage. Now the Ptolemies are not just rulers, but priests and guardians of a god. Second, he founds the Museion, Temple of the Muses, and with it, the great Library of Alexandria. This wasn't just a warehouse for scrolls. It was a research institute that, like a vacuum cleaner, sucked in the best scholars, poets, and engineers from across the Greek world, making Alexandria the intellectual capital of the planet. And third, he takes up the pen himself. He writes a history of Alexander, detailed memoirs of the campaign, which, alas, have been lost. I am going to reveal the most closely guarded secret of power. It lies in controlling the narrative. By founding the library, Ptolemy controlled knowledge. By creating the cult of Alexander, he controlled religion. And by writing his own history of the campaign, he controlled the past. He forever wrote himself into history, not just as a bodyguard, but as the chief witness, friend, and chronicler of the great king. And he made a final, most wise move. In 285 BC, he, the only one of all the Diadochi, voluntarily abdicated the throne and transferred power to his son, Ptolemy II, ensuring a peaceful transition and the future of his dynasty for 300 years. So let's look at the trajectory of his life. 5 turning points. The ambitions of an outsider at Philip's court, shadowed by rumors of royal blood. The desperate courage in India, where he earned his authority with blood. The cold-blooded theft of the body, a seizure of legitimacy. The 20-year defense of Egypt, culminating in the coalition's victory at Ipsus. And finally, the wise construction of a dynasty founded on cult, knowledge, and control over history. Each decision flowed logically from the one before it. So how did a bodyguard become a pharaoh?
Ptolemy won because he was the only one who understood that in this game, the winner wouldn't be the one who seized the most land, but the one who offered the better idea. Antigonus wanted to recreate the empire by force. Ptolemy, however, realized that the empire was dead, but the legacy of Alexander was immortal. And while others fought for a phantom past, Ptolemy bet on the future. He didn't just steal a body, he stole history itself. He turned Egypt into its guardian and himself into its high priest. And in that gamble, he did not lose. The story of Ptolemy is a lesson in how an outsider can change the rules and found a dynasty. But he wasn't the only one fighting for Alexander's legacy. Are you ready to learn the truth about another great player? A man who started with even less, lost everything, and then conquered Asia from Syria to India? If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to let us know in the comments which turning point in Ptolemy's life impressed you the most. Your engagement helps us make this series. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode of Chronicles of the Diadochi. In it, we'll tell the story of the luckiest of Alexander's generals, Seleucus I Nicator, the victor.